So if you're curious about whether or not you can save 50, 60, 70% on outstanding debt from past creditors, this is the video for you. My name's Elizabeth Stukis,
Hi, I'm Katya Ceballos.
and we're here to make sure you understand what debt settlement companies do for you. And are they beneficial? So Katya, what do you think? Can people actually save 50, 60, 70, 80% on their debt?
Um, Potentially, but there's a lot of repercussions that come with this kind of program. I know there's a big misconception that I'm going to a debt settlement program because I need help with my credit. And that could be the furthest thing from the truth because our credit is about payment history, right? Are we paying accounts on time? Are we late? Debt settlement focuses in on your debt. So it's two totally different goals, I think, depending on the goal of the consumer, right? Like what are we looking to do? Are we looking to potentially save some money? Are we looking to help our credit? That's the big factor in the decision of this as well.
Yeah, debt settlement, it's so confusing because there's debt management, debt settlement, consolidation, and then improving your credit, right? And how all of that fits in. But specifically with debt settlement, why I bring this up and why it's so important nowadays is because a lot of people are getting in debt again, right? Inflation, you're not getting paid more, your credit card interest rates are super high, and all of a sudden you find yourself that you can't make your monthly payment. And someone
Mm-hmm.
calls you, says, look, you owe, let's say $5,000. I'm going to get that to 2,500. All you have to do is pay me, right? And let's say all your debts equal $5,000, right? And I'm going to get that to 2,500. That sounds fantastic. Like, why wouldn't you do it, right? Why wouldn't you agree to something like that? That's 50% of my debt. And now I
Mm-hmm.
have one small payment, right? Supposedly, versus, three credit cards that I'm paying out and forgetting to pay and whatever other situation might be occurring. I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
So when we're going into a debt settlement program, first and foremost, they're going to ask you to stop making payments on your accounts. That is going to then start reporting late payments, 30 days late, 60 days, 90, typically at about 120. Your credit cards will then close. And this is times three because it's
Yeah.
per account. Credit takes a huge hit with just one late payment. One late payment typically drops 50 to 70 points. So imagine having three accounts, no more payments, month after month, our credit is taking a hit.
Yep.
Um, the debt settlement company will collect funds. They do a plan for you. You pay us this dollar amount for this number of months and your debt will be cleared. Consumer will start making payments. And mind you, these are typically programs that are a couple of years. So you're going to be in this program. I hear usually it's like a 3 to 5 year plan
Yep.
that they put out. So we're making payments as this company is collecting funds. They will, once they have, first of all, once they pay themselves, and then once they have enough to start paying the creditors, they start negotiating the debt. Negotiating the debt for credit purposes will mean they're going to make a payment. It's going to reflect as a new late payment, new activity. And there's a comment on the credit report that gets placed that says settled for less than full balance. So anyone that's looking at a credit report will know that we did not pay back what we owed. And this is what they would do with all of these accounts. So there's nowhere in that process that helps our credit, right? It hurts our credit, but yes, we are getting rid of our debt
Which is a
if that's your goal.
Yeah, which is a
Yeah.
good thing if you're looking to get rid of your debt, right? But on top of it, what we as consumers don't pay attention to, we only hear the 50% is the fees that are involved in it, right? So let me give you an example. I was talking to a client recently, and he started with one settlement company and went to another one because the communication was lacking and he really didn't understand what he signed, which is a big problem. But then I was comparing the actual agreements and I saw that one said that they take 29% of what they settle, right? So a consumer who's thinking that they're getting, a reward of not paying their debt, they're only having to pay 50%, is actually paying so much more.
Yeah, these hidden fees where we're not realizing what are we really saving?
Correct, right? And that's the part where I really wanted to discuss, first and foremost, as a consumer, pay attention to that. Don't only pay attention to the fact that you're saving 50% on your debt. Because remember, right? I mean, they're settling give or take 50%, but then there's that additional fee. And then on top of it, Katya, just like you mentioned, then your credit is being dinged every single month for the next how many, not
Mm-hmm.
months, just years though.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't really expect our credit scores to go up during that time period because at any given point, if this company makes a payment, then your scores just go right back down.
Yeah. And look, I mean, some people like that, right? They like that structure of, okay, I'm going to pay $200 for the next 5 years and it's my debt's going to be gone and I paid this settlement fee, right? And that's fine, right? If you know what you're getting yourself into, most definitely do it, right? Especially if you don't feel comfortable settling your own debt. But can't you do it yourself?
Absolutely. I was just going to say that, right? There's no reason why you need to hire a third party to reach out to these creditors and negotiate a payment. But I understand sometimes people don't feel confident, they don't feel comfortable with it. So it's okay. There's a service out there for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Where they will do all of that for you. But at the end of the day, if you are looking to save money, it's much more beneficial to just do it yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it is pretty what's the right word? Intimidating, right? You're calling a
Yeah.
creditor, they're not very nice on the other side. They're probably throwing some legalities, what they're going to do, what they can do. Some of it might be true, some of it might not be true, right? And so it is pretty intimidating. So I understand why people would want to work with a debt settlement company, and that's fine. I think the most important thing just to realize, whether it's a debt settlement company or an attorney, right, a law firm that does debt settlement, they still have to abide by specific rules, right? And what is really interesting is I saw another agreement, and hopefully I'm not seeing something correctly on this agreement, where it's actually an attorney and they know better, they should know better, that didn't have a settlement fee. So this consumer was paying settlement fees to the attorney and not knowing how much he was paying. So,
Hmm.
isn't that interesting? Like the agreement was 5 pages. Looking through it, it stated how much there was a small fee every month that no matter what you would pay, right, for the service per se or for the overview of a law firm. But I did not see a specific fee that was going to be charged based on the settlement.
Okay. Yeah, that's odd. Typically, the contracts will include all of the creditors.
Mhm.
And I have heard of settlement fees, but it's usually per account, not per month, because there could be months where nothing's going on, right? It's typically by account, and they should be giving you line items of you owe this much, this is what we're settling on, this is the expected date that it's going to get paid, just so that the consumer has that knowledge.
Right? I mean, I thought that was quite
Yeah.
odd. And as I said, I mean, maybe the consumer is not sharing everything, and we're looking into that. But I'm hoping that, that they were made aware of. If not, that's the thing that we as consumers need to know. Every debt settlement company, if you're going in that direction, just like you said, Katya, they should lay it out. They should lay out the creditors, they should lay out the monthly payments, when they're expecting to actually make that payment, and what the fee is to actually make that payment, make that settlement, right?
Correct. There shouldn't be anything hidden, and everything should be laid out so that the consumer makes the best decision for themselves, because again, there's a big misconception of this is going to help your credit, but they don't truly understand what they're getting themselves into. And it's a shame, because halfway through or a couple of payments in, they'll realize it, they cancel. Well, I just lost, everything that I've been making payments on,
Because
and I got nowhere.
yeah, because that goes towards the fees of
Mm-hmm.
debt settlement company.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. So what do we need to take away from this, right? What is so important that, if you are working with a debt settlement company, or if you're thinking about working with a debt settlement company, because that is, a structured program, what should a consumer be aware of?
Do your homework and ask the right questions. Ask them how this is going to work in their favor, truly work in their favor. Make sure that all of the payments are laid out, and have set terms. I'm paying this amount for this number of months. It should not be like an open-ended contract where you're just paying and paying.
Yep.
There should be a goal with an end date in mind. Know any fees that you're going to be
Yeah.
making payment on. That's important, because then you'll realize like what exactly you're paying for.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what I'm stressing right now is when I talk to people, just know the fees, right? Everyone needs to make money when they're doing a service. So I'm not questioning that, but know the fees. Know that if you think you're actually saving 50%, you might really only be saving 20% of that debt. And your credit now is shot, right? Which is okay if you're in that situation and you like the structured environment that a debt settlement creates. But if not, then you need to be looking at other options, maybe a debt management, maybe debt consolidation, based on, again, the situation you're in.
Correct. One more thing I just want to add, because I did hear this before. If they are claiming that this is going to help your credit, ask them how are they gauging it, because sometimes these companies will provide a credit score, but it's like a simulated score, or it's their own scoring model. So that, unfortunately, in the real world means nothing. So we want to make sure that if we're looking at our credit scores and how it's impacting, we're looking at the right scores.
Oh, so valuable. That's right. Well, hopefully you guys found this information valuable. Ask us comments, questions. If you have any additional questions that you want to hear about or learn about, just comment below.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.